Hey Void, how you doing? So, got another Shudder Trek to get through. Still treading water, trying to catch up from last weekend, but getting better and getting on pace. So, next one I came across was Mon 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 Monsters, a Chinese film under the Chinese title, and I'm gonna butcher this, Guai 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 Wu. Now, this one's labeled as a horror comedy, and there are some parts that are definitely making it a comedy. But this one definitely puts horror first and foremost. This is a brutal, uncomfortable film. And it's trying to be, and it's succeeding. Okay. So, we follow, let's see, I think Ren Hao is our. It's Ren Hao or Shu Wai? Trying to recall. Just glancing down. Okay. So, our two main characters, I guess, would be Ren Hao, the class bully, and Shu Wei, who's a picked on, bullied kid. Now, he's completely abused, picked on, to the point his teachers even say you're not believing, and the fact that he's bullied is his fault for not making a better effort to get along, and things like that. So, a very spiritual teacher that just is saying that's karma is the reason he's being so picked on. Anyway, he ends up getting involved with his gang of tormentors and having to do essentially a charity project, and well, it goes pretty poorly. Not so for the fact that they encounter, well, a pair of monsters. These monsters are a pair of girls that were once human but have since transformed into vicious, sharp-toothed creatures that can't abide sunlight, can walk across walls. They're sort of like vampires. Anyway, so they end up, being chased by one of them. One of them runs off. They end up capturing the younger one, which is, I'd say, 13 at the oldest, and begin holding her captive. And now that Shui has gotten involved in this, he's now part of the gang, but he's still the most picked on one. And this is where the film starts getting dark, as they essentially torture this young girl because she's a monster. They find out sunlight hurts her, so they're constantly reflecting sunlight on her. They're pulling out her teeth to make necklaces. They're just beating her up just because they essentially have like a steel plate drilled onto her face. This is some uncomfortable territory. Meanwhile, the older creature is now searching for her and killing anyone in her way as she tries to find the school. They also discover that the blood of the creatures is, well, if someone drinks it, they essentially start becoming one of them, and therefore gain the vulnerability to sunlight. So they essentially use that to execute their teacher. So, Shui keeps getting dragged along into these worse and worse situations while sort of befriending the younger monster, as he's the one feeding it his blood. But, I'm not going to spoil the ending for this one, but everyone in this movie is terrible, and usually I complain about that. But this one, you can kind of understand why the bully kid is terrible, and the payoff and comeuppance is worth it. And the music score complements this movie very well. Yes, there are funny parts, and it is labeled a horror comedy on IMDb, but it's horror first and foremost. There are some funny parts, but this is a very uncomfortable film. And I mean that in the best way. When it goes hard, it goes hard. The gore effects are great and brutal and uncomfortable. Particularly with the essential torture of this young monster. It's definitely doing the whole humans are the real monsters all along cliche that we've seen time and again. This one's like if you cross the movie Dead Girl with The Girl Next Door. It is brutal. But I did really enjoy it, that said. I wanted to know where this movie was going with all this, and I didn't. Well, I suspected some of the ending points. I never guessed completely where it was going. And I don't think even the characters knew some things that they were planning. As Ren Hao, the bully, gets more and more over the top crazy to the point of just beating a guy with a stick in the middle of class before deciding to, well, kill their teacher. And the older creatures is rampage to the city, getting more and more over the top. It's a brutal little movie, and I liked it. I'm gonna give this one. I'll give it 8 MacGuffins. Mon Monsters was definitely eye catching. I do recommend this one, but it's not for everyone. There's some definitely uncomfortable subject matter here, so be advised. Otherwise, definitely give it a look.